we have some good news.
Some really good news. So back in like February, we submitted a video, one of our episodes.
Blizzard of 96, if you listened, you know.
You already know. It was one of the greatest episodes we ever made. And it got accepted into the Astoria Film Festival.
Yeah.
They graciously accepted us in. It's going to be
May 31st.
May 31st. So it's coming out really soon, this Sunday. And if you want to check it out,
Next
they have
Sunday. See, you were doing the this and that, this and next. This Sunday would be the Sunday that's upcoming. Like the one that's happening in 2 days. It's next Sunday when Sunday hasn't happened yet, and it's the one after that.
That is correct.
Okay.
So, May 31st. Let's just
Next
make it really
Sunday.
clear. May 31st. You could see it. You could buy tickets. Unfortunately, we can't be there. By the time we got accepted, we had already made plans.
Already committed.
I'm going to a Mets game. She's going to a family function. But that's not stopping you from going. Like, please go. Support this awesome festival and watch us do our thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also we just came from the Metropolitan Museum of Art and we saw their
new exhibit, which is called
Costume
Art.
Costume art.
Yes. And it's like fashion that is inspired by works of art.
Yes.
And all different kinds of art. So that doesn't necessarily just mean like paintings. It could be sculptures. It could be pottery.
Right, like a Greek pottery. Yeah. Something like that. And that actually was the theme of this year's Met Gala.
Which we don't usually follow.
I don't really care about
I like
that.
to skim what the outfits are, but I don't follow.
Yeah, but in general, like, I've gone to a lot of the Met's costume exhibits in the past. And it's in a completely different location. It's not in that basement location it usually is in.
It's pretty much right when you walk in. If you go up the main entrance, it's right there when you walk in.
Yeah. It was like, one thing Mel and I agreed on was like, it was a lot. It was like a lot to take in.
I also think because it's in the main entrance, you can't miss it. Where, like, in the Met, there's so many different places that it takes a while for people to get there and find it. Where, like, it was just so overstimulated with people because it's right at the front. Yeah. So, like, everyone knows where it is. And it's like, oh, jeez. Like, they're so crowded.
If any of the curators from the Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, are listening, please put it back in the basement. That was...
Put it back in the basement where it belongs.
Come on. Costume exhibit.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Oh, that's it? All right. Yeah. Then we watched it, and we had a lot of different thoughts.
Yeah, what were your thoughts? Anything jump out?
No.
That's what I figured. Yeah. So I was like, all right, let's go. Let's get to the episode. Yeah,
a lot of stuff. So if you want to see it, see it.
No, it's a lot. You might have to see it a couple times to take it all in, but yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Melanie.
And I'm Diana.
And we're two queens in a pod.
Yes, and we are two queens from Queens, giving you the Queen's perspective. And today we are are suffering from some allergies.
Ugh, it's the worst right now.
But we're also going to be bringing you to the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, and this is my first time walking across the Brooklyn Bridge, so we just decided to make an episode about it.
Yeah. Also, it's going to be the Brooklyn Bridge's 143rd birthday. This Sunday, the 24th.
And you should all know that we only celebrate obscure birthdays, like the 172nd birthday of McSwirlies. Right?
Exactly.
Was it 172? Right. 172, 173, one of those.
Yeah, one of those. In the
weird
170s, you know?
Yeah. We don't like to do, like, the even birthdays, you know?
The obvious ones, it's obvious.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. We do it when the feeling feels right, and 143 felt good.
Yeah. So, Brooklyn Bridge, I want to point out that I've got all my information from Modern Marvels, if everyone really loves that kind of, I think it's a show that's on History Channel, and they did like a really great job, and it's on YouTube, so if anyone wants to watch that, there's a lot of like really cool pictures about the Brooklyn Bridge while it was being built and everything. So
it's on
highly
YouTube?
recommend. It's on YouTube.
It's on
yeah.
YouTube. Okay, cool. So it's $3.99.
$3.99 to watch. Yeah.
Love that.
You just gotta constantly watch like the really annoying ads.
The repetitive, the same ones over and over again.
Okay, so before we kind of dive in really deep, I'm just gonna do a really quick intro. So the Brooklyn Bridge, it took 14 years to build, which is I feel like that is wild. but it was supposed to be slated to be built in 7 years, and then because of all of the things that happened, which we'll talk about, it took 14 years. But it says that if it didn't take 14 years, the technology that was occurring during those 14 years, like, allowed it to get these, like, newer technology, newer industry.
It wouldn't have been as strong as it is now, or as greatly made. So it needed
to be, everything that needed to happen,
Everything was happening just as it should be.
Yeah,
Love
exactly.
That. Perfect.
Okay, so now we're bringing you back in time to, like, the late 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talk about
1870s when it
1870s
first started getting constructed.
So during this time, as we talked about, even in Queens, a lot of Queens and Brooklyn was more rural areas. You know, this is people just kind of living there, but everyone was working in Manhattan. So the only way to get to Manhattan was by ferries at the time, by water. So there was no bridges that were connecting Manhattan and Brooklyn at this time, at this period in time.
And we learned that from our New York City ferry episode.
And we did, yeah. So it's kind of funny because it's like ferries are going to come back in a big way in this episode.
Okay.
So the ferries would bring a lot of people from Brooklyn to Manhattan. That was like their commuter train. So there was this guy who's probably the most important guy of this episode, and that's John. And how do you say his last name?
Roebling.
Okay.
Yeah, Roebling. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this guy was like the king of suspension bridges. He had made so actually before he went into building suspension bridges, there was a few high profile suspension bridge collapses.
Yes.
In the early 1800s, and this really prevented suspension bridges from becoming a thing. People were those don't work.
Those don't work. Yeah.
Let's nix that.
But this John Roebling guy, he was born in Germany, and he went to he had a lot of high education in Berlin, doing polytech and doing engineering and studying. So he was well versed, and they called him a perfectionist. Like, he wouldn't just do a slap job. And not saying that those maybe were slap jobs, but instead of doing things quickly, he did them correctly.
They were no Roeblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he built his first bridge, and he was using iron wiring. So he kind of created cables.
Right. And so he figured out how to stabilize it through these techniques.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So in 1841, he built his first suspension bridge in Pittsburgh over the Allegheny Bridge, Allegheny River.
Yes.
And you've been to Pittsburgh. Have you gone over this bridge?
I did not go over that bridge. I went over the Andy Warhol Bridge, like one of those yellow bridges.
Okay.
I can't.
What made it an Andy Warhol bridge? Like, he painted it?
Imagine.
Why is it called Andy Warhol?
I think Andy Warhol grew up in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
And the Andy Warhol Museum is there, and they named it after him.
Interesting. Okay.
But he did not paint that bridge.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So then after that, he was building suspension bridges everywhere.
All over the place.
They were just popping up.
One of which is located over the Ohio River. It connects Ohio to Kentucky. So you could get on the bridge and then be in one state and then cross over and be in another state. And how do I know? I crossed that bridge, which was very cool. Yeah. And it's named after him. It's called the John A. Roebling Bridge. And it's basically like a mini baby version of the Brooklyn Bridge. So it looks really similar, has similar aesthetic, except that it's painted blue. And that's the only difference. Mm-hmm. But I felt kind of cool. I was calling it the Fugazi Brooklyn Bridge, but it's actually the OG Brooklyn Bridge if you really think about it.
Okay.
So yeah, this guy was just super awesome when it came to that.
Yeah.
And then the Brooklyn Bridge became the biggest bridge he ever made. He kind of knocked his own record out.
Because it's over a mile long to get from Manhattan to Brooklyn, where he wanted to build his bridge. Okay, so there's a lot of rumors of why it was built, and they say that this John was on one of the ferries going to Manhattan, and he was like, I'm going to build a bridge so that we don't have to take these ferries anymore. He was very not anti-ferry, but he was like...
They didn't have Dramamine back then.
They didn't have Dramamine. He was probably seasick, like me. I get it.
There you go.
I get it. So he was like, we need to build a bridge. So he started petitioning to build a bridge. And it's kind of funny at this time because remember we do like the city of Queens, the city of Brooklyn,
well,
the
it's a
city of
village of
Manhattan.
Queens, technically.
So
but yeah.
each of them had their own mayor. So the mayor of Brooklyn and the mayor of Manhattan needed to like come together to like agree upon building this bridge.
Right, because they're two cities. Remember, this is before the consolidation of New York City. So this is like, there's New York City, which is present-day Manhattan, and then there's the city of Brooklyn, which is obviously present-day Brooklyn.
Right, exactly. So they actually had to go to Congress, like Washington, D.C., to get approval to build this bridge because a lot of people were like, no, like, we, like, just, like, fighting about money and everything like that.
Which is crazy because the president at the time, was it Chester A. Arthur?
Yeah.
Who we don't like, though, because he was very rude to Asian people, remember?
What the
When we did our Chinatown episode, we learned that, like, Chester A. Arthur passed these, like, very racist, like, anti-Asian immigration laws.
Right. No, you're right. Okay.
So now we have a flip side of, like, maybe a cool thing he did, which was get this bridge going.
Yeah, that's so funny. I completely forgot about that.
You're like, what are you doing? I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Okay, so we have the go-ahead to build the Brooklyn Bridge, okay? John's getting all set up. He went to go to survey the land.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, go if you want to
I wonder if do we want to do this chronologically, or do you want to keep your story and I'll bring up something
I just wanted to keep going.
And keep going and then I'll peel it back. Yeah. Okay, go. So everything's going great. Yeah. The designer, go.
So the designer goes and he's going to survey, where he's like, all right, we're building this bridge. we're going to start setting things up. He already has the plans. We'll go into the plans in a second. But before they even like started the worker being there.
No construction has
begun. He's standing on the pier, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he has his toe down and it gets stuck. And the ferry pushes against him and kind of cuts his toe open, or like something happened with his toe.
He lodges.
The ferry did it to him.
The thing he was trying to get rid of.
Damn. Ended up being his downfall. So the ferries heard that he was, talking smack about them and how he wanted to build a bridge, and the ferries are like, why I oughta.
And so you think, you just stub your toe. No, this was like a major thing. He had to get his toe amputated,
right? He goes to the doctor, he gets his toe amputated. He goes against the wishes of the doctor.
Oh, he did?
Yes, the doctor was like, you need to take the XYZ medicine, you need to stay in the hospital. And he was like, no. By the way, he's in his 60s at this time, but he was fit. He was, fit as a fiddle, this guy. He's like, I'm going to take care of it myself. You know what he does to his amputated toe? He cures it by hot water, like putting hot water on it. So then he gets tetanus or whatever, and he dies a week later after. And they're like, yeah, if he just listened to the doctor, he would have been alive.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he's going to be the first casualty of many for this Brooklyn Bridge.
Yes. Okay,
he's the creator and the first person who died.
Which is nuts, because this guy was a genius. Like, he deserved to see his big masterpiece, his biggest suspension bridge. But I think
everything that happens in this story, I don't know how this is not a movie. If there's a movie about the Brooklyn Bridge, it is wild, the things that
there's
happen.
A lot that goes on. Yeah. And so I want to put a pin on Roebling, because it doesn't end there, because his family has a bunch of crazy other stuff this bridge had a whammy on them. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But what I do want to do is just backpedal a little bit to the pre-planning. And I want to bring up this guy, William M. Tweed. So William M. Tweed, he was the corrupt head of New York City's Tammany Hall. And Tammany Hall comes up every now and then. I swear we're going to learn more about it one day, but we're getting little clues about what it is. This guy Tweed latched on to the Brooklyn Bridge project from the beginning. He's like, I love this idea. I want to be part of this project. And so what he did is he facilitates bribes to get backing from New York's members of the municipal legislation. Mm-hmm. He's just bribing them to get the project going. So he's giving them money, which is kind of skeevy and weird. Then he became a major stockholder in the stock of the bridge. So he's convincing members to get it. He's buying stock in the bridge, and then
This is some old time fraud.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he inserts himself to be part of the committee in charge of managing the Brooklyn Bridge's finances, the whole project's finances. And so people are piecing things together, and he goes to jail because people are starting to read between the line. I think he was doing corrupt stuff within the political party as well. But what he was allegedly planning to do was to skim money from the city bridges contracts, and he was arrested before he could even do that in 1871. And it's been estimated that this guy Tweed and his cronies stole somewhere between $45 and $200 million from like public money.
Wow.
And that like if he had not been arrested before this, he would have stole even more from like the Brooklyn Bridge project.
It's actually crazy how much money gets stolen from public funds.
Crazy.
From government.
Like,
it's so corrupt.
Everyone's like, "Where's my taxes going?" To corrupt politicians.
That's to the cronies. To the cronies.
Yeah, all the cronies.
To all the cronies.
All the cronies in Albany. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give that preface of like, there was a lot of shady stuff going on. It's kind of like the wild, wild west of New York City in some ways.
I mean, it was probably easier back then. You know, nothing was like as well. It's actually pretty easy now, as we can tell, to get away with things.
I guess so. Yeah. So there's drama in the beginning of it, and now there's drama with the designer, and now the construction process start. And you guessed it, folks, the drama continues with this bridge.
So the other things that we can't talk about, like, the other thing that we need to talk about is John Roebling had a son named Washington Roebling. And I don't want to call him a Nepo baby, but, like, he's kind of a Nepo
Definitely
baby.
a Nepo baby.
Okay, so his son is actually a pretty impressive person. His son actually fought in the Civil War. He also went to school for engineering. Like, he made sure that his son was, like, very well educated like he was. And he fought in the Civil War. He was a high-ranking official. He was a colonel. He falls in love with one of his general's sister, who's Emily Warren. She's a very big influencer of the Brooklyn Bridge as well, which we'll get to. Okay. She's extremely intelligent. But after John died...
After his dad died, after John Roebling died.
Yeah, the chief engineer for the Brooklyn Bridge, moved to his son Washington.
So, but what were his credentials?
He had a lot of credentials.
Okay. Yeah.
So he was his partner before he was going to work on the bridge regardless with him. Okay. So he knew all of his plans.
Got it.
He's worked on his family's iron business beforehand. He went to school for this.
Right.
He actually like has a lot.
He was worthy of it.
Yes.
He was worthy of the position.
And not only was he worthy of it, he was not going to let his dad's vision, his dad's masterpiece fall apart. Like no matter what, like, and we'll talk about this in a second, but he was an extremely hard worker on this particular project because he wanted to make sure that his dad's plans went according.
Yeah, that they didn't go down in vain.
Plans going according to plan.
Yeah, so the plans, that they went according to plan.
Yeah.
That everything went according to plan.
All right.
That's the wording. Okay.
So he becomes the chief engineer for this. He's 32 years old at the time, okay?
And he's not the only one who fell sick of this. Many people suffered from this thing that he suffered from.
So I kind of want to explain
what a casein is.
Because this is really cool. A casein, yeah.
Okay.
So there's two caseins, and the History Channel does a really good... I know a lot about it because of the like visuals. I feel like reading about it was kind of difficult to understand.
Okay.
So I'm really educated on the cases.
That's so funny. Okay, because the way I did it's funny. We both did this. We did research from the same source. We both went with History Channel. You watched a documentary, and then I just went on this like article. So like I found myself having to be like, what is a casein? What's Casein's disease? Why did so many people get Casein's disease when they were building the Brooklyn Bridge? Yeah. And so break down what a casein is. Okay.
So there is two huge towers that are on the Brooklyn Bridge, right? There's the Manhattan Tower and then the Brooklyn Tower.
And then there's a middle one, like in the
There's
water.
Not a middle one. There's only two. So there's one on the Manhattan side, one on the Brooklyn side, and then there's just the water, the roadway. That's it.
But then there's one right in the middle.
No, there's not.
But when we walked on it, there was
There
one.
isn't.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Can I look at a picture here?
Let's look. Hold on. I'm gonna show Diana a picture of the Brooklyn
How
Bridge.
did Miranda and Steve meet in the middle without there being a thing in the middle?
They just thought that the middle was between the two towers.
I need a visual.
Okay.
That's the middle one.
That's not. That's it. That's the Manhattan side and that's the Brooklyn side.
Oh, that's so weird.
That's it, yeah. That's the middle, I guess, what you're talking about. That's the middle.
Wait.
I'm showing her pictures for people who are not watching.
Like that's in the
That
middle.
is the Brooklyn side, my friend.
Oh, okay. All right, there's two towers.
Okay, there's two towers. So the Cassins are Cassins?
Either
casings.
one. You know what I'm talking about. What we're talking about.
Think of these two boxes. They're a box. It's a box that is like the size of the tower. And this is what's getting implanted into the ground that will be filled with cement so that they can build the tower on top of it. It's pretty much like the foundation
of the whole bridge.
But how do you get it to the bottom of the water floor, right?
Yeah, because it has to be watertight.
Yeah.
And it's like,
think of it as these boxes. They put them in the water, and they're going to sink this box all the way to the bottom. And it's pressurized because when it finally gets to the bottom, men need to go in and out of it because they need to keep digging. So it's on the floor of the water. Yeah. I don't want to say ocean floor because it's not. The river floor?
The East River.
It's on the floor of the river, and there's going to be men that are inside it, and it pushes up the mud, and they're just scooping mud or scooping I guess mud. I don't know what it is. What's at the bottom of the floor? Of the river floor. Whatever it is. They're scooping it up. Because this cassin needs to go all the way into the ground.
Because it's load bearing. It can't just be floating in the water. It has to go all the way down. Yeah.
So as these men are inside this box underwater, think of it as like a submarine. Like they're coming up and down like using this elevator bank.
Right.
And back then, they didn't know what the bends were. So if you don't know what the bends is, it's like a lot of people who are divers and go all the way down to the water. A little science lesson here is that when you're underwater, the pressure is incredibly higher. Like it's
the water pressure. Well, there's a rapid drop in surrounding pressure as they go down. Right. And the pressure changes forces. Like it forces certain gases out of your body. Like it forces nitrogen out of your body. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is that it pulls this pressure changes forces, and it sucks the nitrogen out of your body's tissues and into the bloodstream, and then it blocks blood flow and it causes nerve damage.
Yeah. So like simple terms, you just can't go from top to bottom really quickly. Like you can't go to the bottom of the ocean and come up really quickly. You have to do it in, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not sure, but you have to come up very, very slowly, or you'll get the bends because your body is just off balance.
Yeah.
But they didn't
your body wasn't made to do that.
They didn't know this back in the day.
Right.
So all these men were taking the elevator down. They were working all day, pulling up the mud. They were shooting right back up in this elevator.
Not knowing that they were like
fainting everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Because it makes you wonder, like, obviously, like, and if we have to think of it like, I hope these men didn't die in vain, in the sense that I hope that like we learned how to create technology that doesn't cause that to happen. And like had they not experienced that, you know what I mean?
What's interesting is their first cassin was built on the Brooklyn side. Nobody died yet. Like the people who died were on the Manhattan side. So they just did the Brooklyn side first.
Did they get sick though?
They were getting sick.
They were just
100% they were getting sick.
Yeah. Okay.
So Washington,
Roebling,
son, not Washington, the first president, not George Washington, but
Roebling Jr.
Roebling Jr. He was there with the men, like he was going down every day
boots on the ground.
He was boots on the ground with these men, and he was getting sick every day too. But it was crazy because there was like this passage of from like an Irishman who worked in the cassin, and he said it was just like pitch black in there because they couldn't have a lot of fire, like they couldn't have a lot of like lighting down there because it could catch on fire. So they were just in the dark in these like polarized, pressurized thing, just shoveling dirt and mud for hours at a time. They said it was so bad that 100 people would quit a week. 100 people would quit.
So it took 14 years.
I have on here how much money they made a day. $2 a day. So you got paid $2 a day.
Not worth it.
100 men would quit a week. But because immigrants were the ones working on this, they would just replace them with
someone else.
More immigrants. So
that's crazy.
That's a crazy.
They treated everything like super replaceable. Like, all right.
So it took about like I think 2 years to do the Brooklyn side. Then they moved to the Manhattan side to do the Manhattan Tower
caissons, whatever they're called,
The problem that was happening in Manhattan was this was sand. It wasn't mud. So there was sand, and they were just going down in sand and sand. They just kept going deeper and deeper because you know when you're at the beach and you're pulling up sand, you just keep going. Like,
oh my God.
To get to the bottom.
Even more time
they're spending more time down there, and they're going deeper.
Oh God.
So that's when the people started dying.
Oh my gosh. And so like that, that's how Roebling got very injured. He didn't die, but he got very sick. Other men are dying this way. And then even outside of that, other people were getting killed by just falling off the 200, like the opposite reason. So some people are dying from going too low.
I feel like I'm dying right now.
These allergies. And then other workers are dying from going too high, not having the right harnesses, and then just like falling off.
Yeah.
And then others died from like debris falling on them, and like it's been estimated that anywhere from over like 30 men died in the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, and I think also because a lot of these people were immigrants, their deaths weren't being recorded, and all of that.
Yeah, I mean that's what they're saying, but it probably might be even more.
Yeah, I think it's more. So when Washington gets really sick, he kind of retreats, and like he's very, very sick. Like he can't even like get out of bed because he's really messed up. So this is where
who steps up?
His wife, Emily Warren.
So wait, is this William's mom or William's wife?
Who is William? Who's William?
George?
Washington?
Oh, Washington.
These
W names.
This is Washington's wife.
Washington's wife. Okay, because I wasn't sure.
Warren, yeah.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if it was it was OG Roebling or new.
No, that guy's
been
dead.
All right, his wife is gone too, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, his wife. We haven't talked about his wife.
But you know what's funny? Because like, what were her credentials for this other than being his wife?
No, she didn't have any credentials.
Okay. On that note, can I say when I was reading that, this was giving like my cousin Vinny, where like Marissa Tomei goes up onto like the to do testimony, and they're like, what are your credentials? And she's like, well, my father was a mechanic, and his father's father was a mechanic, and his father's father's a mechanic, so I know everything. So like I feel like that's how she kind of stepped up.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I know, I've been around.
Well, she was an educated woman.
Yeah.
But she, as far as having credentials of like knowing
being an engineer,
no. So she would relay all of his notes, and she would manage day to day
for him. Like she was like his scribe or his.
But but you know how like we talk about on this podcast unimpressive men. You know, like I'm always thinking like men are just unimpressive, and it's because women are so impressive. During this time, she went to school for mathematics. She went to school for engineering. She went to school and got educated on these things so she would understand the information that he's telling her to relate to the workers. She didn't just like take what he's saying and went.
Like
she started understanding the information and studying on the information so that she could be better. Like, just impressive. And
you know what? It's a good thing that this bridge took so long to make because she had enough time to do all that.
Yeah.
She went and got
even after the bridge was built, she became a lawyer. She went back to school in her 40s and became a lawyer.
Let the ladies do the work.
Yeah, she did end up dying early, but
whatever.
You know what? Okay, so she becomes very important, and she was really good at diffusing fights. So because it was taking so long, a lot of people wanted the trustees, the board, everybody was like, this is taking too long. And she would go in and she would diffuse the situation and mediate. And
she was a good mediator.
She was a good person. She came in clutch time and time again.
So not only was she handling like the engineering stuff.
She was like the project manager.
Right. She was like creating like the social emotional energy between everyone too. You know? It's not about how long you live. It's what you get done while you're here. Yeah. And she got it done.
So Washington Roebling was in, I think it was like Trenton. It was like upstate New York somewhere. And a lot of the times he was relaying the information for her to come back down. But then he moved to Brooklyn Heights, and he would literally watch the construction from his window and like be like,
it's like rear window,
not binoculars, but what's like the telescope? A telescope.
It's like a rear window.
And be like, that guy's not putting that brick in correctly.
No, to the left. No, to the right. A little bit down.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the stage one was to put the castings in. The stage two was to put the towers in, which you said people were falling off the towers because they weren't there. Stage 3 was to build so you have the towers was to build it to like connect to the shores or like to connect to the Brooklyn side, whatever.
All that wiring.
And then they put the cables in.
I love those cables. I danced
cables.
with the cable.
You did? They put the cables in, and then the last part is the actual walkway area, which I thought was interesting.
The wooden
like, that's how you build a suspension. You build everything, and then you build the actual thing that gets across. Isn't that
it's
cool?
funny because when you look at, like, when you don't know all the logistics and, like, the
No,
nuts
you're
and
like,
bolts,
how the heck do you put that together?
Right. You would think, like, oh, you start with that. But it's, like, it's funny that it's the last
with the towers and stuff.
Very cool. So does that bring us to the opening day?
So the opening day, well,
huge crowds gathered on May 24th.
Well, we have to talk about Emily Warren, who's the wife.
So this is before opening day.
Yeah.
Right?
She was the first person to test that the bridge works. She went across the bridge in a horse and carriage, because that was the mode of transportation back then, carrying a rooster apparently because it means like accomplishment or something. Right. So she was actually the first person across the bridge.
So the first person across the Brooklyn Bridge was a lady.
Yeah.
A very educated, well-versed lady.
Impressive woman.
Very impressive woman.
All right, now you can talk about the
opening day. I keep calling it opening day. It was like the inauguration. So huge crowds gathered around on May 24th, 1883 to watch the bridge's opening ceremony. The president at the time, Chester A. Arthur, and the person who would be president next, but who was the current New York governor, Grover Cleveland, showed up. A bunch of politicians came. There was people marching on the band. There was a military band. There was troops there supporting. Okay. There was a celebratory cannon, some fireworks, receptions and speeches. And then at midnight, they let people walk over the bridge.
Yeah.
It's kind of late.
And do you know that it cost a penny to walk over the bridge?
Yeah, so like...
But do you remember the LaGuardia Airport episode that it was like a penny to watch the airplanes
to
go
not
off?
even take
Wasn't
a plane
that
just
it?
to
Wasn't
watch.
it a penny to like watch the airplanes?
Yeah, or like 5 cents or something
penny?
like that.
Why is it this like the mode of that the measure of to do things, random things, is a penny?
It was like the equivalent of a toll back in the day.
Oh, all right.
You know what I mean? They were trying to make money from it. So, but funny enough is that it was actually more expensive back then to go over the Brooklyn Bridge than it is now. Because it's technically free.
Yeah.
Not if you don't like include a congestion price, which like if you're going downtown, you're paying some way, but you technically do not pay to go over the Brooklyn Bridge. But back then, it cost a penny to walk by foot, 5 cents if you were a horseback rider. So if it was you and your horse,
because there was like a couple of different modes of transportation you could use to get across the bridge.
It was 10 cents if you took a horse and wagon. It cost 5 cents for farm animals, for cows to go over.
Oh,
2 cents for sheep or a hog to go over. Just the financial breakdown. And then eventually they were like...
I was like, I didn't write any of that down.
Yeah, I don't know. So civic groups were like, we don't want to do this. And they waived it. The civic groups waived it. And
became free.
And yeah, 1911, they were like, "No, we good. We ain't doing that no more." So yeah, so now it's free.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, but if we go back to a year after it opened, great tragedy struck the Brooklyn Bridge. Did you hear about this?
Tell me about it.
Actually, it wasn't even a year after. It was a week after. A week after the opening, on Memorial Day, there was around 20,000 people on the bridge. And then panic started. Like, someone spread a rumor.
The stampede.
Yes. So, like, people started spreading rumors that the bridge was going to collapse. And, like, mob mentality happened, and everyone just started running for, like, no reason. The bridge wasn't actually falling down.
Yeah.
But
these are the people walking across the bridge.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, people just started hearing it, got passed out. Everyone just started stampeding off. And then 12 people ended up being crushed to death. And this was just like a week after its opening.
Me is how many people die in stampedes.
It's crazy.
Like with the Travis Scott like concert, remember they had like a stampede, and then a lot of people died. And
even Black Friday growing up, people died running into
like,
to KB Toys and frickin' Toys R Us.
Like terror and like fear and just people just like letting fear win and like not knowing what to do is like
really scary.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's been times where like I've been at a concert and I've been like, if everyone started running right now, like we'd be screwed.
Yeah.
And like,
I think the hardest thing is like people's ability to be able to stay calm.
To stay calm, right, exactly. But like, that's such a scary situation.
No, yeah.
And so like nothing was really done after that because it was like a false alarm. They did throw some more patrol officers on there. But then this is what I really meant. A year after that occurred, so a year after that Memorial Day Stampede incident, P.T. Barnum stepped up to the plate and he was like, you know what, I want to waive all this fear there is surrounding the Brooklyn Bridge.
I think it also was like an advertisement for his circus too. But it's a little bit of both. Yeah.
A little 2-in-1 thing. So to promote his circus and then to waive fear from the Brooklyn Bridge. I guess that was his selling point with the Brooklyn Bridge people. He was like, come on, this will make everyone trust the bridge again. He had what? How many? 21
I was going to
elephants.
say 100 elephants.
1 million elephants.
But I think they would do this a lot for bridges. They would like make an elephant go over. Like that's what needed to be done for people to like not have superstitions.
Yes, it had to be elephant tested.
Yeah,
so he had like 21 elephants walk across the Brooklyn Bridge, and yeah.
Have you ever been to a circus?
I have.
Yeah.
I actually went when they allowed the animals.
I know.
I didn't think it. I was too young to be like, this is wrong. Like,
yeah, I think I did like Barnum and Bailey's, like when they were like in the city. Yeah, I was really young too.
It was definitely like an MSG or something like that. I definitely did that.
Yeah.
And then I
don't think I could ever go now.
I also went to the Big Apple Circus when they used to set up over in like Lincoln Center.
Oh,
It just freaks me out. Like, I don't need to see a trapeze artist like walking.
No.
I don't need it.
But you know when you're a kid and you like watch Dumbo and stuff and you think like, oh man, the circus life seems so much fun. Like you're just like hanging out with your friends, going on a train. But then it's like, no, like these are such grimy people. Like they don't have like combs. It's so sad. They live on a train.
I mean, now, like nowadays, it's basically like just being of like a travel performer, like on tour. But yeah.
So because of Washington Roebling, because of Emily Warren, because of John Roebling, like this is why the bridge is created. But you know what I found out? That Emily and Washington kind of not retired, but like after the bridge was done, they went to Newport, Rhode Island, and they like have a house there. And he built like, so Washington Roebling, after the Brooklyn Bridge was built, never built a bridge again. Like he's like, I'm out of the bridge business. And he built her a house in Rhode Island, in Newport. Yeah. And
is it one of the mansions? Is it one that you can like visit?
It looks like a mansion. I don't know if it's something you could visit. It's not like the Breakers or anything. It was just like a house for her.
It was an actual cottage. It wasn't like a cottage.
Yeah. But I just thought that was funny. How,
that's cute. Yeah. They were like, we out.
And when we went across the bridge, Diana took a nice picture that we put on our Instagram that has a plaque dedicated to Emily, Washington, and John because they were so influential about building the bridge. And then I think at the bottom it says like behind every man is like a woman. I don't know. I don't know what the quote is, but doing the thing,
fighting the good fight to get things done.
Yeah,
when it's
needed.
But
this, like, the bridge would not have been built without Emily. So shout out to the impressive women in the world. You know,
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. You have any more fun facts about the bridge?
I do. Just like in the same, just backpedaling to kind of the whole elephant thing. There's been a lot of people like daredevils who have tried to kind of do things off the bridge.
Well, when they had before they built the walk, like the actual like walkway, when they just had the cables up, there was a guy who like kind of like zip lined down the cables and like, I don't know, was waving to the crowds
like
and stuff. Yeah, I don't think he was a construction. I think he was like a stuntman to like kind of like
get people excited.
Yeah, like that was like the PR back then. Was one guy with no cords like going down the the cables.
Look at me.
Uh-huh.
But so there was like, I guess like so there was this guy Robert E. Oldham in 1885 who was a swimming instructor, and he became the first person to leap off the Brooklyn Bridge. And I don't know why, and I don't know if it was funded or anything, but he died when he did that.
Oh, oof.
But there were some who survived. One man who allegedly did it to impress his girlfriend. Would that impress you?
Impress me.
If you saw you and your boyfriend walking over the Brooklyn Bridge, he goes, "I'm going to impress you."
Now that's
he jumps off the bridge.
That's an unimpressive
man.
That
is an unimpressive man who's trying to identify as an impressive man. Just a bunch of red flags all around. Yeah. I do hope whoever that girlfriend is no longer with him. And then there was another dude who apparently wore like canvas
Why is it always
wings. Because A woman wouldn't do this. A woman would not jump off the Brooklyn Bridge. Do you remember? So yeah, sorry. Another dude just like wore the wings and like flew off it, and I guess he landed all right. But whatever. Do you remember as a kid, like if you were, let's say you were kind of getting in trouble with your parents, and they were like, "Well, why did you do that?" It's like, "Well, he told me to." It's like, "Well, if he told you to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge, would you?"
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's totally like
A man thing.
And it's also like a saying. It's like a quintessential saying. I feel like my dad specifically said the Brooklyn Bridge.
I never heard of Brooklyn Bridge, but obviously I've heard of like when you jump off a bridge.
But in that note, there's a saying, and I don't think either of us heard of it, but there's a saying, and it's called, "If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you." Have you ever heard of that saying?
I have not.
Okay. This saying comes from the Brooklyn Bridge directly.
Okay, why?
There was a gentleman called the Bridge Salesman. He was a con man. His actual government name was George Parker. And he would scam tourists and sometimes like newly arriving immigrants by quote unquote selling the Brooklyn Bridge to them. And he would be like, he would set up offices and he would create like fugazi like paperwork and deeds and convince people like, oh, if you buy this, there's so much money in like the bridge owning business. You can like collect money on tolls and da da da. And so like people would get kind of conned by this dude.
Oh, okay.
And that's where the saying that like I guess used to be well known was like, you know, when we were kids we'd be like, look, gullible on the ceiling, and that's how we'd like trick people. Back in, you didn't do that?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, well, yeah. You didn't fall for it, so that's good. But, like, the saying then was, like, if you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. Like, that was a saying that literally came from this con man.
Oh.
This, like, con man from the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You had a lot of research about, like, the pre-Brooklyn Bridge and the Roeblings. And I have a lot about, like, post-construction.
I love how you typed out your notes and you were like excited, but it feels like you're more disorganized than ever with these
No,
printed out
I'm good. I'm done with this one. Yeah, we're good. So, another thing I had was that in 1935, did you hear about this? There was the car dangle situation.
Imagine I was like, yep, and then I was like, move on.
You're like, I know exactly what happened in 1935. We can move on. The next talking point. Okay, so there was two drivers. I guess there was one driver, two people in one car, and he drove and swerved to avoid a car crash that had occurred on the Brooklyn Bridge. And when he swerved, it resulted in the car smashing through the upper iron railing. Okay? And it went so far out that the car was like dangling off the bridge.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, the two people in the car were like very close to like
falling
falling down
over.
with it.
Mm-hmm.
But like by the grace of God, they were able to climb out and like get off the car and onto the bridge. And then like 2 seconds later, the car like went into the bridge and they were like done. And so it was like one of like the craziest like almost tragedies post construction that like happened on the bridge. Another cool thing is that in 2006 there were city workers who found windowless vaults built into the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was
windowless vaults. Mm-hmm.
And it was speculated that it was built around the late 1950s, and it was designed to house government emergency supplies in the event of a nuclear attack. So like, I think my parents are a bit older than yours, but like my parents would always talk about like air raids and how like they had to like hide under desks at school.
Yeah.
And so like
one of our teachers at Mary Lewis, Mr. Klein, he would always talk about that.
Yeah. Like my parents were talking about it too. They were like,
instead of doing like fire drills at work, at school they would
shelter
have like
drills. Yeah.
like get under your desk or whatever.
Yeah. And so like
because this was during the Cold War.
Right. And so during this time, I guess in response to like that environment and all the crazy things that were going on, they built these vaults in the Brooklyn Bridge.
There is a lot of places throughout Manhattan, not even Manhattan, like the city in general, that have these measures in place. Like if you've ever taken the Midtown Tunnel, which connects Queens to Manhattan, there are these like huge doors outside of the Midtown Tunnel in the case that if anything happened, they would shut the tunnels off. And because of these nuclear attacks. Isn't that crazy? There's a lot. Crazy. There's like actually like a lot of different places that you'll see like things like that.
Right, and so
throughout the
like
city.
when they looked inside, what they found is like decade-old medical kits, heavy blankets, and like hundreds and hundreds of airtight drums of water, like just
Is it clean water?
old water, water from the 1950s. So drink at your own risk, kids. Yeah. And then they had also like survival like cracker. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. And then they had like survival cracker, like whatever firework things, which I thought was kind of funny. And then the final thing, I don't know if you all remember this, just a year ago in 2025, it was the Brooklyn Bridge that Mexican Navy ship crashed into.
I know.
Which is crazy.
That was really
upsetting. And like I looked into some of the research because like I remember as it was happening, just being like, how did that happen? And then like not really figuring out how. And so what happened was that the Navy ship lost power. There was like some sort of mechanical malfunction, which caused propeller issues. Specifically, like the propellers locked, so so they were not able to do anything. They couldn't push water. It was just locked, and that's what caused the boat to start traveling in reverse at accelerated speeds.
So they were never supposed to go under the Brooklyn Bridge at all, and it just was going that way?
I don't think they were even supposed to go into the East River.
Okay.
But because their propellers locked, they couldn't push away from the East River. And we all know about Hellgate. But I guess I'm just
confused about why the people were... Because didn't the reason the people who died were the people who were like in the crow's nest? Why didn't they just tell them to come down?
I think they're just I think because they lost power, they lost the ability to communicate to one another as well. Okay. I don't know. But I just think there was like a lack of communication about what was going on logistic and mechanically and what the sailors were doing. And so they lost steering capabilities. And then we all know with the Hellgate and the East River, like it's very strong current, and it basically pulled the ship into a navigation area that or a water area it should not have been in at all. And then that's kind of what happened. It got swept backwards by the East River, and that's when it crashed in there.
I mean, you obviously see a lot of Instagram feeds of this happening, but I think you don't realize like how many people are on that pier by the Brooklyn Bridge that watched it happen, and how traumatizing that must have been to be so helpless to not be able to obviously do anything and just watch these people fall from these extended heights from oh my god, it must have been so traumatizing to watch happen.
I also think there's probably that moment where you're like on the shoreline and you're just thinking like, oh, this boat's getting kind of close, like it's getting too close. There's that moment if it doesn't feel real, which I thought was like super crazy. But yeah.
But on a happier note, we walked across the bridge. It was a lovely walk that we had.
Yes.
We had a lovely day, which we're making more episodes about because we did a couple of things.
Yeah, we did a lot in one day. Yeah. We went to the World Trade Center, One World Trade, so you'll be hearing about that. And so we made a whole day out of it. Yeah. And then we went over the Brooklyn Bridge.
And then we had a couple of drinks in Dumbo. It was just such a lovely day. Dumbo, and then we took a ferry back home. So
it was like
what a perfect day.
Jam-packed.
Yeah.
We don't plan on doing Dumbo yet, but we will eventually.
But yeah, I feel like it's very easy to make like a really lovely day walking across the Brooklyn Bridge, and it's a free event. You know, we get to do something free in Manhattan.
Because it connects Lower Manhattan, which has like South Street Seaport, it has the financial district, it has the Oculus, it has all that. Then it connects it over to Dumbo and like Brooklyn Heights and all like there's just so much. It connects two really awesome areas together.
Yeah.
And you could argue that it's really the bridge that made like I feel like those communities were built around the bridge and that proximity and like how iconic the bridge is and and
then all these other bridges started getting built. Like Manhattan Bridge is obviously not too far away from Brooklyn Bridge, and then you have like the Queensboro Bridge,
the Williamsburg Bridge.
They were just, I forgot about the Williamsburg.
Yeah, actually,
like what is it, BMW?
Yes, Brooklyn, Manhattan, and
Williamsburg. Yeah, all right next to each other.
And it was the Williamsburg that beat the Brooklyn Bridge in length. So the Williamsburg is longer than the Brooklyn Bridge.
The Williamsburg Bridge you can only bike over, right? You're not allowed to walk.
No, you can walk.
Oh, you can?
Wait, which one?
Williamsburg.
Yeah, you can walk.
Oh, you can?
I've walked it.
Have you walked the Manhattan Bridge?
I don't.
You gotta walk over all the bridges, my friend.
Oh yeah, you can walk over that one.
Okay, I
can you?
I don't know.
I know a train goes over the Manhattan Bridge. There might be.
That's the train. That's the end, right? That if you don't get off, like
It's the one that goes to
bypasses.
Barclays.
Yeah, and is it the end that goes to Barclays? Because remember
Yes.
I was on it and I was like, go to Barclays. I'll meet, because we were going to Francis Tavern.
Yes, and you were
I was
like,
actually, I'm in the Barclays.
You're
Center.
like, I'm gonna be another 30 minutes, and I was like, she didn't.
No, it's not. It's not that bad. It's
It
like
takes
an extra
a while.
15. Yeah, depending on if you get
one
the federal
way.
train. Yeah,
It probably takes 10.
and then they come back.
And they come back. It's 20 minutes. I rounded up to 30, but it takes a while. But you know what we didn't see while we were on the bridge? The falcons that live up there. Did you know it's not only the Throgs Neck Bridge that those falcons?
They love the height. You know what I mean?
They love it. The fastest animal alive. They're living
I think
up
it's
on all
also.
those bridges.
I mean, I'm not sure if any other bridges have this, but like it's so prominent of the visual of like the American flags that are on the Brooklyn bridges.
Yeah.
Are they on like every bridge? No, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, if I like just go off of memory, but I thought there was 3 towers, so don't ask me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just feel like the Brooklyn Bridge is just so iconic.
It is iconic.
It's like it shows up in artwork.
Happened, yeah.
It shows up in poems. It shows up in literature. It shows up in TV shows, movies, everything. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I like it. I get a nice. You know what I wish though, that it wasn't so crowded. So many people go over it, but there's reason because everyone loves it.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Are you gonna be an icon? You know, you gotta do iconic stuff.
Also, we went on like a Saturday or a Sunday. I bet
I really don't think it was that bad. I mean, I'm not one to really like complain about like crowds and stuff unless it's like really crazy. And I thought that it's just crazy at the beginning and at the end where like people are like pigeonholed into like a very small area. You know,
it's all. You know what it was for me? It was the vendors. There was vendors that were like taking up.
But again, that's
a
only
spot.
like kind of the beginning and the end. Like in the middle, you're kind of just like you can free fall. You know.
That's true. And then nowadays, you can just like cut people out of your picture too.
Yeah. Well, I did that for one, but you could see the shadows of people.
Oh,
so it's just like shadows on the floor of like
ghosts.
nobody.
Creepy.
Oh, but yeah, it was great. What lovely afternoon. So
yeah.
I highly recommend doing
it's
that. It's
something everyone should do at least once.
Yeah.
Just go over the Brooklyn
Classic
Bridge.
city thing to do.
Yeah. And you could do it anytime you want to like hang out in Southern Seaport and then Brooklyn afterwards. Like that's a great day.
Yeah.
So I recommend it, y'all, and happy 143rd birthday to the Brooklyn Bridge.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. All right, peace.
All right, bye.